Go live. I don't need to do anything.
You don't need to do anything. I'm working on it right now.
All right, there we are.
Okie dokie. Oh, there we are. We're live on Instagram also. Yay! Yay! Oh, and YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, X.
All those things.
All those
Holy
things.
cow.
We're live everywhere. Good morning, everybody. We're here today with Karen.
Hey.
And Dr. Nelson. And Dr. Kiltz is here as well. Karen, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm here.
He is here.
He is here.
Karen, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your own story and what you do?
Sure. I'd love to. So I am, by trade, I am an attorney. I do property tax and real estate law in the Chicagoland area.
Nice.
But I've been primal and followed Mark Sisson from the Primal Blueprint, and went to an ancestral health symposium in Cambridge in 2012 and saw some great speakers, Gary Taubes, Nina Teicholz. Anyway, recently, so I've always thought low carb eating is a really good plan. Low carb made sense to me. Primal made sense to me. And paleo made sense to me. And in 2022, my husband, who had suffered from a lot of different metabolic issues, gout, mainly gout. He had a little belly. He was about 60 at the time. On February 6th, he went into the hospital, and on April 13th, he died. So he had 67 days from the time our lives were just our regular everyday lives, going to the movie, eating popcorn, watching TV, drinking soda. He drank Dr. Pepper. And I went in when I was visiting him in the hospital, because he was in the hospital most of that time. I was breaking some of my major rules, like no diet soda. That diet soda was an easy thing to get. I usually drink iced tea, but I couldn't find unsweetened iced tea in the hospital cafeteria, right? I could find Diet Coke, but not unsweetened iced tea. So that was the beginning of, and at the time it was interesting because when Tim was first diagnosed, we knew he had a very aggressive stage 4 colorectal cancer. And we knew time was, against us, but I found Dr. Thomas Seyfried, and he and Miriam Kalamian, they were both keto for cancer. Keto is a metabolic disease. Those are their, I think, work publications. And that made even more sense to me, right? So I wanted to get Tim into a therapeutic ketosis to see if it could help his cancer. And sadly, his colon, they wanted to rest his colon, so they gave him a liquid diet. And that liquid diet, of course, I asked him to do a keto. I asked them to do keto. I knew that you could find a keto one that they had done for epileptics, but they said they didn't know what I was talking about. And he ended up getting whatever your typical is, which is either dextrose or whatever, Dr. Kiltz, Dr. Nelson. So he died rather quickly. And after that, my mother started to have issues. She's been diagnosed with mini strokes. And Dr. Kiltz, you and I talked about this at the meetup where I actually met you in person in Chicago. And I have not been able to institute this yet, but I'm trying to get her she's pretty much keto, but she's basically primal, or not primal, but she's eating protein shakes. Most of them are not homemade. They're, for ease, they are commercial. And when Tim first died, she started getting movements on her right side, her right arm and her right leg. And my mom is 86. And then she had what the doctors diagnosed as mini stroke. So her left side stopped working. Then she started spasticity in August of 2023 and stopped talking and swallowing. And so I'm hopeful that time is not against us with my mom. And I am going to start trying to give her, you recommended some frozen grated ground beef for her. She always liked steak tartare, so I think that'll work for her. And we have been really good about doing the protein shakes and coconut oil, MCT oil and coconut oil. even though, I'm kind of against that because it's based on the coconut, right? But at 86, it's not going to deteriorate her health any more than I think it will give the benefits, because that is what is in Dr. Mary Newport's book, where she helped her husband who had low grade or early diagnosed Alzheimer's at 55. And so there's a lot of doctors out there, Dr. Nelson, Dr. Kiltz, that are out there. And my main way to get to carnivore actually was Low Carb USA. I went to Low Carb USA. I always wanted to go. And then after Tim died, I begged my friend, Dr. Cami, who's, as you can see, is in my YouTube channel. And we decided to go keto, and we went to the first Low Carb USA for us, which was in San Diego in 2023. And there were quite a few doctors who were carnivore. I was expecting a low carb conversation, but there was a lot of carnivore conversation. And Dr. Chafee was there. Dr. Jay Wortman was there. I think Dr. Eads, the Eads were there. And I was just very surprised. And I thought, I'm just going to get, Dr. Tony Hampton was there. So I thought I was going to give carnivore a try. And I did, and I loved it. After 4 days, I never had any really bad biomarkers or anything. I was just basing my decision to go carnivore on what I saw around me, my loved ones, and going, I don't want to end up like Tim. I don't want to end up like my mom. I want to, if I've got anything going on inside of me because there's nothing that is presenting, I want to stop it now. I'm 62 now. And so a couple of things that I would like to change are, I'm trying to get this hair to go back to my natural color. Want to get rid of the glasses. Don't know if carnivore is going to do that for me, but I've only been doing carnivore strict since December 1st. And even that's not strict. I've had a Diet Coke quite a few times. I've had some sweets, but I love the community, and this community that this Dr. Kiltz Mighty Tribe community, the Healing Humanity community, watching Carrie Mann, I think on YouTube, was what really prompted me when he said after just a few days, his depression had lifted. I'm okay. If it works, it's not going to do any harm if I do it. I already, was eating pretty low carb. And so that's what I decided to do. And after 4 days, all of a sudden my procrastination was gone.
Wow.
And that was one thing. I mean, I didn't think that there was a cure for my procrastination other than, willpower or changing my mindset. And that was really when I saw the very strength of the mental aspect of this. And I love the things that you say, Dr. Kiltz, what do you say? Prisoners, peasants, soldiers.
Slaves, soldiers, peasants, and prisoners.
Yes. And
we're all that. We're the peasant stock.
And what I really think that so I have a couple of things that I'm investigating or playing with right now. And I think I'm not sure about the whole honey issue, right? But I don't think that we actually ate tubers as ancient human beings. And I want to put this out there. Think about it. When we go get food now, what do most people do? They drive through McDonald's, right? A lot of people in the world, not carnivores, right? I mean, carnivores do too, because they'll order their meat patties, right? Or they'll have food delivered to their house, or they will have food packages together so that it's easy for them to make their food. I'm thinking not the easiest way to get food is digging up a root that back in the ancient times, a million years ago, is going to be super hard to eat, super fibrous, and very untasty. I'm thinking we're more likely that we ate little tiny animals, right? We've got chipmunks running around our yard all the time. I'd love to grab a couple of those. So I really think that I think that our science has been based on a mentality of carb heavy, right? Glucose infused brain matter, which is making, all these theories. And that's why I think that theory is probably off. I think that humans, when they were developing, I just don't think they're looking at things like, oh, I'm going to eat fruit, because why would fruit have been something that was attractive to a carnivore? It's hanging on a tree and then it falls off of a tree. I mean, back in ancient times, right? They weren't sweet. They were smaller, and they were for the animals that the humans had to rely on eating the animals on a regular basis, because they clearly had to know that the fruit didn't last very long. I don't know, maybe in some regions, I think they still had seasons. So I think that when you look at it from, oh, you're not eating an apple that you get at the grocery store today. You're eating it some little bitter, tiny thing that was an apple back a million years ago. It's not like humans I don't think a developing human a million years ago is going to say, oh yeah, that's what I'm going to eat now. That's the next best thing than eating some, heart that just came out of a mammoth.
I grew up eating tubers all my life. I have as part of my diet before this, but I imagine that humans at some point may have discovered the tubers and realized they had to cook them probably in a time of famine, and they were digging for roots to eat, probably out of necessity. The fruit, they were hanging, they were visible, they probably would attract you once a year in their season. So I imagine they did try that when available more easily. I want to point an article out. We're not going to spend much time discussing this article, but I want to share this, Alia.
Mm-hmm.
And this was something that Nate shared with us over the weekend.
Oh, okay, great. While you're doing that, pulling that up, I want to say today we're doing hashtag Karen. So make sure you put hashtag Karen in the chat. And Dr. Nelson is giving away, we'll be doing 1 hour of coaching. This is the May 1 hour of coaching with Dr. Nelson. So do that, and we'll get that all set up for you. Whoever the lucky winner will get that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you see that, Alia? You have to put it up.
There we go. There we go. Let me just move your head up higher in case. Okay, there you go.
This study came out last week, and it's just one of many other studies that are coming out relating to this. Keto diet reveals a new way to starve deadly cancer cells. You can put it down, Alia.
Okay.
I have a story regarding the big C, and 18 months ago I had surgery. After that, had treatments, 6 weekly treatments, which included fasting 2 days before and 2 days after, and using Dr. Seyfried's stress pulse approach. Included many natural supplements that are anti-glutamic, included being in very high ketosis, nutritional ketosis, because I was fasting along the treatments. So far, so good. 4 cystoscopies later, and 3, and multiple tests have all been negative.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
That's amazing. I want to say thank you, Haley, for that very sweet super chat. We love you too. There you go. We have some questions. Should we take them now or a little bit later?
Go for it.
Okay, good. So our first question is from Zinc16. What are your thoughts on raw meat? Does cooking cook out all the vitamins and minerals? Who wants to answer that one?
I have my opinion, and when you cook something, you glycate it you oxidize it, you damage it, and you may change the natural structure of many of those minerals, vitamins, and their functionality, along with other amino acids, simple sugars, fatty acids. So I think raw meat is better, and cooked plants are less toxic. So kind of interesting one.
That is interesting.
Dr. Kiltz, you're the one who's made me start ordering my steak rare. Back when I was a kid, I would say I liked it as shoe leather. As an adult, I've recently been doing medium rare. But after the Healing Humanity meetup in Chicago, you were talking about raw meat quite a bit. And I think you like it black and blue. And I haven't gone to black and blue yet in a restaurant, but that is probably my next step because I'm getting used to the texture. What I love about this is it really is a transition because all of us have grown from a carb infused lifestyle to transitioning, and I'm learning these things little by little, and it's fun. It's fun to play with it, and I really feel that this kind of community is the most important community there is to get the word out. There's a lot of channels, Dave Mack and his interviews, and is it the opposite of, or the return to a different kind of science? Because I laugh when they say there's no science behind the carnivore diet. It's like, it's the biggest epidemiological study ever. People never ate grains until, 15,000 years ago. People never had, cancer, diabetes, whatever that you want to call it, whatever chronic disease you want to put in that box, they didn't have it 1,000,000 years ago, 500,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago. So the science is there, right? If you didn't have it and you didn't ingest it, and now there's other things that will change. There's toxins in the air. There's other things that we're taking. I'm a person, I grew up in the 60s and 70s, teenager in the 80s, and I never smoked pot or did drugs, and so I don't know about getting high, but I'm sure our ancestors did, right? See, I think that might be where the plants came in, more like a peyote or something like that. And but I'm not at this stage, I'm not willing to try that yet, right? I don't have any complaints. I feel great just eating meat. So the raw meat's coming for me.
Patience in the process and little bits from time to time. I always add a little melted butter, a little blue cheese and melted butter and salt sometimes. So do we get that, Dr. Nelson? Did you have anything else to add?
No, just.
I was kind of looking up articles on meat and all of that. And really it's a hard one because even those that said meat was okay kind of then come back and say, well, the Harvard study said maybe we were wrong. So, but we are seeing more and more stories of people's experience on this diet, which is a game changer.
I asked ChatGPT to run a list of things, items that the carnivore diet would cure or alleviate. In seconds, 100 came up. 100.
Wow.
It's
great.
Yeah. So it's what is it? The rosacea, the eczema. And when you watch TV, all these ads for drugs, all you've got to do is look at what they're trying to stop and say, will carnivore help that? And I just think, yes, it will. Or will it hurt it? No. When will taking a milkshake out of your diet hurt? And I guess unless you're my mom, because my mom is eating protein shakes.
Well, a milkshake though, if it's raw fatty cream milk, and it's cream.
I'm talking more McDonald's. Yeah.
My story is that even some really just natural cream, eggs, a little vanilla, maybe a small amount of cane sugar is not the killer that kale is, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think one of the issues, though, in my transition is that I can't have just a little. I think I have to be a steadfast carnivore for probably another year or two, because that sweetness, it makes me want to order dessert. It makes me want to eat sweet every single time I put something in my mouth, right? Even if it's just a little cane sugar. At this stage, I have not gotten that out of my system yet, or my brain and my body are not aligned in that respect.
Next question, Alia.
Next question. This is an interesting question, I think, just to make us think a little bit. Sharon McCabe, do you think there are less birds now than 10 years ago? We remember counting birds. Now we don't see so many. Do you think spraying fruit and vegetable caused this? It's a very good question. I think you might be onto something there.
Well, yeah, there are fewer birds. Many other animals, insects are less because of our environment, which is not natural. A lot of poisons out there, and our practice of farming is highly detrimental to those animals,
Right.
those organisms.
Yeah. Exactly. Someone's asking a question. Sisse, carnivore is the real deal. Have you ever heard about carnivore and switched back to salad? Do you mean salad or vegetarian? The little salad picture. I heard people go from keto to carnivore to ketovore to carnivore. I've heard of it.
I know I've heard some people say that they leave carnivore and then they come back after something relapses, right? You know, they get their eczema back or something like that.
Mhm.
How many health conditions have you improved, reversed?
Well, I didn't suffer from too many. I considered the vision a health condition that I would like to reverse. The procrastination is the biggest one. I did not think I had brain fog, but I certainly got much more mental clarity just 4 days after eating carnivore, strict carnivore.
Crazy.
But I will say, there's a thing about going down in the basement in our house. That's where the laundry room is. Or I would try to combine my trips to do, get something out of the refrigerator down there and do my laundry. And after carnivore, I realized I'm running down the steps and running back up the steps. So what that is that part cardio, part inflammation in my joints that is, not there, that I didn't really think that I had. I mean, that to me is what the joy of having carnivore, of having this community. So you see all the people that are healing things, because there are people out there who will have things healed. Maybe they have eczema and didn't know that they could do sprints after this, right after, 20 days on carnivore, all of a sudden they're sprinting down the driveway. I do sprints to my mailbox.
Yeah.
Very good. Someone
Okay.
asked to post the link to that study. I posted the link
Yeah.
on the channel. On the chat.
Nice. Okay, we got another question. Let's see here. Can you eat only butter from Eve, and for how long? I'm going to say no, you can't only eat butter. You could probably eat a lot of butter, but at some point you need some protein, a little bit of protein.
Okay, so butter contains everything. Contains everything. And so in actuality, you probably could thrive and survive on butter longer than you know. Because now clarified butter is different.
Right.
But unpasteurized butter is probably pretty whole in everything you need.
Well, and it would depend on what your metabolic situation is as well, right? If you are a thin person versus a person who's got some weight that they can actually use as their own, fuel source for a while.
Well, your fat is the only fuel for our body.
Right.
Whether it's coming from the liver or adipose tissue or visceral or the food you eat. It's only the fat. And the beauty of fat, butter, is it goes to the lymphatics and goes directly to your cells. It doesn't require the liver for metabolism at all. And so I think you can just eat adipose tissue, but it's got to be raw. And that's why the butter's got to be raw too, because the heating it up will damage the molecular structure.
So Dr. Kiltz, I want to start eating raw meat and raw adipose fat, right? So tell me, how do you go about transitioning to that?
Well,
what's the best cut?
Well, I mean, any cut, and most talk to the butcher and say, don't cut the fat away. They all have fat on them, but they've all been trimmed from the butcher. But I mean, the ribeye is a big cap and the fat's marbled within it. You can get hamburger and get a 80-20 and eat it raw, and there you're getting the fat. And so I think that works also.
And how long have you been doing the raw meat, and did you notice a difference?
I mean, I'm technically, my father was sharing raw hamburger meat when we were kids. And so a long time, and I used to have whole milk and eggs for breakfast, in the blender, and some Ovaltine, or maybe some Hershey's Quick a little bit from time to time, but mostly just eggs and whole milk. But I do it still, but I still love my black and blue. I love that seared, crusty butter on it. That's beautiful too.
Yeah.
And there really is no transition to be a lion. We already are the lion, but as we're kind of working into this, we went from paleo, keto, Atkins, and then to carnivore. Then you get some benefits by doing it that way too.
Great.
Have you said you've started to go basically from well done that you used to eat into the medium and medium rare, whatever you are right now. Have you noticed a difference in your digestion?
Completely.
Yeah.
It's
easier to digest.
From the time it hits my mouth, I think it must be the enzymes in our mouths and the saliva that are breaking it down faster, which would make sense, right? Because it's not cooked. There's no glycation there. And I think it's just amazing how good you feel after you eat it when it's rare.
It's true.
And
sorry.
Look at Pottinger's Cats. That's a really good book. And his scientific studies on cats eating cooked or raw meat, pasteurized or unpasteurized milk was a game changer, I think. We're just missing it.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
and how old was that book? That's from the
40s,
it's old. Yeah.
40s. Oh, yeah. And if you read the book, Eat Meat 3 Times a Day by Schlenk, published in 1946, it's another great book on all of this. Same stuff.
And that's one of the things that, when people are talking about there not being the science, these are scientists, these are medical doctors. I read Strong Medicine. Have you read Strong Medicine?
Yep. Another one that's fantastic.
Yeah, that was in the 1960s. And this was a doctor. This is a medical doctor, just your regular GP. Yeah, that's it.
It's all there. If you go back to one of our really greats, who is I got here we go.
Who is that?
Salisbury.
Oh, yeah, right.
He wrote the science over 100 years ago. So, yeah. But if you Google the science, it does not give any quote randomized science studies.
Right.
But I believe science is mostly snake oil. It's like religion and politics. Someone's given a story.
It is just a narrative. And that takes me back to the ancient human beings that we have. And I think that that's why we are returning to how we, back before we had the written word, everything was passed down through stories. And I think that, and that's how humans, let's call it progress to civilization. And I think that's where we're back to, right? We are now using the internet and our other tools. And my goodness, you guys have the tools to get the message out. That is how the stories are going to get out. And this will be the new science. And it's not a science of just groupthink, because we are sharing what's happening within our bodies. And basically, we're giving our doctors the notes on the internet instead of giving our doctors the notes when we sit in a 5-minute conference with them for our annual checkup.
Which it's as we're sharing more of this and what you're doing, and Dr. Nelson and Ollie and everyone here that's part of this, it is, we're creating the new science, the new story.
Yeah, and maybe the new medical system, right? And maybe it's not even a medical system, the new healthcare system. How do you care for your health? You care for your health, and you care for your fellow human beings. You care for them by sharing. Not everybody likes to share, but how many carnivores have you interviewed or heard interviewed say that they can get up and speak now? And that's not just because the message is a good message. It's because their brain's being rewired by meat.
So it is 100% the stories we're telling, healing humanity with Carrie Mann. We're in Toronto this weekend. That's going to be great. Next week, we're at Meatstock. And there's a question here for Tanya Bailey on Kilt's Mighty Tribe. I did 72-hour fast. After that, had 2 meals first day, 2 meals the second day. Then 42 hours fast. I wasn't hungry. I'm doing a 3-day, no food, no water, no drink. I'm on my 3rd day right now. I feel great. I've been doing my usual work. I'm doing my workout every day. My energy's great. I'm not sure my brain is clear. What did you say, doctor?
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, and we were on last night with Mitch, which I love that guy. He's 70. He's 48 now.
48.
Yeah, he's 48.
And he's amazing. Questions?
Well, I want to answer this from Catherine. Catherine, is there a live this afternoon too? Yes, there is, with Dr. Stephanie Rimka, Dr. Kiltz, and Dr. Nelson, correct? Dr. Nelson, will you be there?
Yes.
So that's happening.
What time is it? 4:30, I think it says.
It's 4:30. 4:30 Eastern PM. 4:30 PM Eastern.
4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, USA.
Yes. Just to be clear for everyone around the world. So there you go. Be there. And then tomorrow we're having another live also. I got to verify if it's at 4:30 or 4:15 with semi-retired Bob.
So Dr. Nelson, I have a question for you. Since you have gone through cancer treatment, are you eating your meat grilled? Do you eat it cooked?
I cook it, but I have it medium rare, black and blue sometimes.
But nobody has said, oh, you've had cancer, grilled meat, charred meat is going to cause more cancer.
No, actually, nobody in my inner circle has said anything. They've seen me for the past couple of years eating carnivore. Next month is my 2-year carniversary, and no, they already know how I eat. My wife is very low carb keto. One of my sons eats mostly keto. Other members of the family, extended family, they eat everything and anything. And I sometimes sit with them even in restaurants. Even for some reason, two occasions when my son's in-laws and our family have gotten together in big groups to celebrate something, birthdays, or special days. I happen to have been fasting on two of those occasions. I just order
Oh wow.
water or coffee, and just enjoy the time with them. And they do make comments. I don't know how you do that, with all this food here in front of you. Uh, doesn't phase me anymore. When I say I'm fasting, I usually don't get extremely hungry either. So I'm able to do that.
Nice.
And Dr. Kiltz, do you get hungry when you fast? Because there's two aspects to fasting as far as I'm concerned. There's you don't get hungry, and there's also I get hungry, but I want to enjoy that, right? That's a part of your human body.
I sort of map out when my next meal is, and I look forward to that beautiful meal. And so I think that fasting is spiritual, it's strengthening, it's food freedom. And so I think that it's one of the best practices, not required, but I think we're not grazing animals. We ate from time to time. We're feasters, feast and famine. That's our nature. And so I feel great. I'm not hungry. I'm not thirsty. And 3 days, nothing. That's pretty amazing how I feel. And I recommend it for everyone because it's something hard, because we're finally able to say, you know what? Nope, like Dr. Nelson, he did 10 days, and yet he'd sit around with people who have food in front of them and enjoy just being there with them.
Okay,
I
great.
think
We have
like everything, practice makes perfect, and the more you do it, the more you realize you're able to. First of all, you don't get very hungry when you're really fasting, especially after the second, third day. Uh, you may not be tempted by anything if you've determined that you're going to be fasting 5, 6, 7 days. Uh, and I have attempted other fasts before, and if I decided I was going to do 5 days, but on the fourth day I got hungry, I know got a little headache or something, I go ahead and break the fast. I'm not going to suffer through it. Uh, Rick, I know you have another question there, but Rick has a question about, uh, do you think my hatred of sweet things comes from genetics or from my long-term carnivore diet? And I would say the longer you are on this style of eating, the easier it gets to avoid and not crave the sweet things and the things we used to think it was, first of all, food or was good for us in any way, like apple fritters and candy bars. Uh, but even the foods, you don't crave them anymore after a little while.
Great. Richard, 8 months, Lion diet, had all my blood done, low vitamin D. I'm in Australia, most days in the sun. Holistic doctor said some people can't convert sunlight to D.
I have a low vitamin D. I don't have rickets. I believe all the numbers are they're incorrect. They're just not very accurate of anything.
I love what you say, Dr. Kiltz, because it's the measuring. The measuring may be more of the problem than the solution.
Absolutely. So interesting. I did 10 days of a glucose monitor, and my average was like 50 to 60 on no food for 5 days. And now I just got a different one. My average is now 70. And I'm thinking, okay, am I really 70, or is it, if they just measure, they have different measurements, that different values, because that's the nature of every test we do. It's just not always gives us that. We don't know how accurate or inaccurate it is. And the same thing goes with all these lipids and cholesterol measurement. I mean, we've really created a science in order to sell a drug.
Right.
And the same thing goes with vitamin D supplementation.
Let's see here. Oh, we got that question already. Okay, Dawn. Many carnivores eat half a stick to a stick of butter a day. Your comments. We sort of covered something similar earlier. You could live off butter, at least for a while.
Well, butter, I've never seen mold.
Right.
And so the butter you eat suppresses the microbes in the mouth and the gut. So I think it helps reduce inflammation, and it provides a tremendous amount of nutrients, micro and macronutrients our body requires. So I think butter is the best.
Great. Next one. Next question. Let's see. Susan P. What happens on carnivore when you have no gallbladder? Maybe this is a Dr. Nelson question. Dr. Nelson.
Nothing. I mean, you eat, you secrete bile from the liver. The gallbladder doesn't secrete itself or produce itself any bile, right? It's a reservoir. It's a sac that got bile ready to be pumped out when you eat to aid in digestion. So you still secrete bile from the liver. Now, do you have to get maybe adapted and transition into the proper response? Yes. And some people do not tolerate immediately having large amounts of fat. You have to be careful transitioning into higher. But you can train basically your body to secrete on demand. Probably need to increase the amount of fat gradually rather than starting to eat a lot of fat all of a sudden, and your body adapts. Instead of the gallbladder, you develop some ectasia, some dilatation of some of the ducts that you have coming out of the liver, and you sort of create a little reservoir there. But you get used to it. There's a lot. I mean, people with gallbladder surgery are common, right? Everybody nowadays seems to have had that. Not everybody, but a lot of people have had the gallbladder removed, and your body adapts.
Yeah,
I want to answer a question of carnivore Lisa. Carnivore coach Lisa. She asked, "Do you think, Dr. Kiltz, do you think butter existed in ancient times?" And I have an answer because I Googled it. I asked AI.
Well, what's the definition of ancient times? But basically,
It was raw butter.
I mean, we once we were doing animal husbandry and collecting the milk from the mammary glands, then at some point we began to do that. But again, what's ancient times? I mean, the last 10,000 years, probably. I don't know when they really started to.
It says 4,000 BC in Mesopotamia. It likely
that's are documented, right?
Are documented, but that's still a really long time ago.
Yeah, it's 6,000, right?
6,000 years, yeah.
The thing with butter in ancient times, it's probably not likely. Even if a hunter had found an animal that had milk within it, it would have been drunk instead of, shaken up and turned into butter. Who's got time, right? Just makes sense.
It literally says that possibly a nomad was churning the milk while he was traveling, in whatever bag it was in. Okay. This is an important question. Dr. Nelson, has the bread gotten any mold on it yet?
No, I was looking at it yesterday. 4 months. Well, 4 months. At the end of this month, we're into the 5th month already.
That's so
almost
gross.
5 months, and no mold.
You're going to have to get that guy who eats anything to actually eat a bite of it when you're ready to say.
even if I was eating bread, after 5 months, that bread is still good. I don't think I want to put that in my body because
No.
I don't know. That's some preservatives it must have.
It's just disgusting. Sorry.
You know,
It's stuff you shouldn't put in your body.
you know what? We say that jokingly, but think about it. Who knows what it's doing, right? It really could be putting preservatives in your body that our guts just can't tolerate.
Mm-hmm.
Our guts are pretty amazing. They tolerate a lot. And
You'll probably shoot it out.
yeah, and on my suspicion, you mentioned tubers. I mean, tubers were probably early food for humans, versus seeds and nuts because they were easier to procure and they had more volume.
But how
in
did they discover tubers? Only when they were extremely hungry and they had to dig
right,
for food.
right. Yeah, but it was probably early compared to the seeds and nuts and those sort of things because you have to collect a lot of seeds and nuts. But tubers, you get a lot more volume in the size of them and roots that provided sustenance. Although some toxicity to them, you'd have to find the right ones. And certainly, a lot of people probably died from mushroom consumption and other toxic plants.
Yep.
Are there other animals that eat tubers, that dig up and eat? I mean, maybe humans were watching them.
Probably.
Oh,
I don't know any animals that's a good question.
Rabbits.
Maybe pigs,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a wild boar or something, right?
Yeah.
I want to read this comment from Kate. I traveled to Australia in 2010 and tried your bread. It's full of sugar. It doesn't even taste like real bread. Our bread here in Australia molds in 5 or 6 days. Yeah. Disgusting. No more bread.
What they do?
Like her bread molds in Australia in a couple days, and Dr. Nelson has this bread for months that hasn't molded yet. Oh, here's the answer to the tubers. Hogs eat tubers. Pigs eat tubers.
Prairie dogs, gophers, squirrels, groundhogs, rabbits, some carnivores like foxes and raccoons.
There you
See,
go.
now here's my theory. If you're watching an animal do that, as a carnivore, you'd be more likely just to eat the animal.
Yeah, if you're there and seeing that, but we see other animals eating it, and those are probably the plants. But like a goat can tolerate many poisonous plants that other animals cannot.
Mm-hmm.
So, likely the same thing with some of these, right?
Ew.
And
here's the bread.
That's why we should be eating that goat.
Yeah.
Absolutely no mold. 5 months. It's going to be in a few days since I bought that. And you can see most people in the household don't eat it. So I don't know that anybody has touched it, though, in 4 months.
Except you, right?
No. Touching it on the outside.
Right.
There's only like 2 or 3 left that were taken. And this was our family New Year's grilling that we did. And they only ate 2 or 3 of those. Whoever had some burgers with the bread, most people ate the burgers that I made without the bread.
Ew. Oh man. Okay. Here's a question. Kurt Palmbald. What are good sources of fat instead of straight butter? Trying to limit protein daily and then add fat to satiety. There you go. Trying to break weight loss, all no dairy. Can't do ribeyes daily. Money.
Beef. Fatty burgers, beef burgers, ground beef. Add more fat. I mean, it's really tallow lard and tallow raw is the very best thing to eat. Throw in some egg yolks.
Oh yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Here we go. Sharon.
Pigs, big truffles, by the way.
Oh, truffles are that very expensive mushroom, right?
Right.
Okay. Sharon, Dr. Kiltz, thanks for taking the time and money to help us and to help humanity. And thanks, Dr. Nelson Alia, too. Have my alarm set. What times in the afternoons? Thank you. Tuesday and Thursday after this week at 3:30, correct? 3:30 p.m. Eastern.
It'll be usually 3 p.m. unless there are some variations due to the guest scheduling and all that. But 3 p.m.
Oh, 3
Eastern
p.m. Yeah.
time.
And then Monday at 5:30 p.m.
Zoom
Zoom.
call within the community.
Yep, for those that are members of Kilt's Mighty Tribe, and everyone can be a member. And it should be a simple link to the Kilt's Mighty Tribe live. And when you do that, you become a member.
How
There you go.
expensive is it to be a member of the Kilt's Mighty Tribe?
Mighty,
0.
What?
mighty. You have to give up your email address.
Kilt's Mighty Tribe. Yeah, you have to give up your email address. Maybe put your picture, if you want, into the group.
But you can put up a picture of Dr. Nelson.
You could. I want to say again that Dr. Nelson is going to be doing an hour of coaching for the lucky winner today. So please put hashtag Karen into the chat to get that. So what's amazing about that is that it's easy to do that all over the world. Like wherever you are, you can get that.
Yeah, all over the globe. That's absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's on keto, carnivore, fasting, health and wellness all around the globe. That's what we're here to do.
Exactly.
So I wanted to bring up in our conversation the wonderful atmosphere that is available to carnivores and others when they go to a Healing Humanity meetup. Because when I attended that one in Chicago, I've gone to a lot of conferences in my lifetime, and that was a conference that was, you could just feel walking in the room how connected people are.
Right.
And so I'm going to throw this out there too. I know I keep going back to ancient man, but I think that we have lost something in our in taking away our way of eating from the past and just eating meat and fasting. There's become a barrier, and I think like a sixth sense almost, right? Like that's what we could call it. That was how people communicated more back in the day when they did not have writing. They had storytelling, but communication was so much more, and you picked it up through just your antenna, whatever, the waves of light or something hitting your skin when you're in a group of people that are all the same. And I think that as we progress into things that numb us, right? And when you eat more sugar and something like that, and your brain changes, you divorce yourself from that deeper connection. But that's one of the reasons why I'm telling everybody to go to the Boston meetup and any other meetup, but I happen to be going to the Boston meetup.
Yes. Yay. I'm so glad you brought that up, that you're going to the Boston meetup.
When
Did we figure
is
a
that?
date? Did we figure a date for September for Syracuse?
Yeah, it's 20 September. I need to do some research on where we're going to hold the event, but it's 20 September. And we have actually Carnivore Ray and Coach Lisa and Richard Keto Pro. They're all going to be speakers at our Syracuse event. So I just need to find the location. There you go. Hashtag Karen. Last few moments to get hashtag Karen in. Let's see. This is kind of a interesting question. I want to just talk about it for a second. Susie Sky. I read an article that said beehives in Texas are collapsing, and they discussed how losing pollinators would adversely affect agriculture and cause starvation. Would that affect carnivores? I'm going to answer this. If we destroy our ecosystem, yes, that's going to adversely affect us. Even if we're not eating fruit, we're going to be adversely affected.
But there's a lot of doom and gloom sometimes.
Oh yeah, exactly. More importantly.
So there are plenty of pollinators out there. And as we work to build more regenerative agriculture, we'll help support and help rectify those things. But
Right.
I
Great.
mean, think of all the bees that were brought here from other countries that didn't exist here before.
Right.
And so I would say that, sure, that may be an issue, but I think maybe we're over putting those beehives everywhere, where naturally they were probably very different in numbers. So
Sure.
I think, like anything else,
I'm trying to show a pollinator. I was camping at a site where they had lots of cocoa, not cocaine, the chocolate plants, and these pollinators were biting me. But they're all over the place. They're called hen. They like
Cacao.
they call it the cacao. Thank you. But we ran into lots of pollinators.
Katie says I converted my vegetable garden to a pollinator. Right? Awesome.
Nice. Yeah. I've seen lots of documentaries about this. We just need to plant, what is it called? Flowers. If you plant flowers, you're going to save the pollinators. That's what you do. We need to plant more flowers. Super simple.
Yeah,
That's
that's
how you
just
can-
our gardens are, we're creating pollinators
Yeah.
and then we're not churning up the agriculture. We're allowing the animals to graze on them.
Right.
And that'll bring a lot back.
Exactly.
What's Joyce's?
Joyce?
I just had a question there. Where'd it go?
Oh, shoot. Sorry. Joyce. Okay. This one?
Yeah.
Joyce McMillan. I love bacon. I cook in a skillet, right? Thick cut. Seems when I have bacon, I get horrible indigestion all day. I usually have to take something. Why is this? Can you recommend something? Thank you.
I don't want to sound like a smart aleck, but some people accuse me of sometimes doing that. Bacon is causing you indigestion. Don't eat it. I mean, because I'm sure you're eating other pieces of fatty meat that don't seem to be causing you any problems. Whatever it is, the simple answer would be, well, if it's bothering you, don't maybe not eat it.
And it could be some of the things that it's cured with and spices you're allergic to. Plus, raw meat is better than cooked meat. I love raw bacon.
Really?
Love it.
So I want to say to Joyce, I used to have issues. If you eat I can eat like a certain amount of bacon, and then after that I'll feel bad. So also, why don't you cut back and see where you feel good and see where you feel bad? Because there you go.
Do we have any music for our intro and extro? Mitch has great music. We got
we will
some
get
music.
that. I'm
We
going
need
to
some
note it
Mitch
down.
music. Maybe we can talk to Mitch. Let's see. Susan Marsh Hattie. Dr. Nelson's personal coaching was outstanding. Please let everyone know how wonderful he is. It felt like talking to your favorite rock star and getting her personal insights, her personal insights. He's a rock star, or all rock stars. Sign up for the Toronto meetup. It's going to be there. May not be able to make it, working on solutions. Can't wait to get there. So again, how do people get coaching with Dr. Nelson?
It's very simple. They sign up at the sign up link that I can put there. It is on Kilt's Mighty Tribe. It's in a lot
It is
of
in the description, Alia. It's in the
Oh,
description.
yeah.
in
Yeah, I've
Dr.
been putting it in the
Dr.
description of
Kilt's
all of these.
channels
But it's
and
in
in
the
my
website.
channel, but we can put it here too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And drkiltz.com, kiltzhealth.com, all these areas, and tell your friends about it. We really want to, and we're adding more coaches, and our coaching certification is coming as
1st.
of July 1st.
July 1st.
Yay.
And it's going to be very reasonably priced, that everyone's going to get a keto carnivore coaching certificate.
Exactly. We got to do the giveaway. We got 1 minute left.
Hashtag Karen.
Karen.
And it's got to be on our YouTube, Facebook, StreamYard link.
Okay, here we go. Who is the lucky winner today? Do-do-do-do-do. Yeah, we need music so I could do a drum roll or add music to this. Yay!
Hooray!
Love green. Woo! Okay,
What
so
do they have to do?
on this specific instance, they need to email Nelson at drkiltz.com, who will send you a code to sign up.
Yes.
Well, it should be all to Alia. I mean,
Okay, so Nelson needs to give me the code and then I can email you. But
I mean, that's where I would do it all. Get it to Alia at drkiltz.com. Then there's always for the gifts.
oh, okay.
the-
Then I'll get the
Yep.
code from Dr. Nelson and then
No, you,
get that over.
you can go and go to the Calendly. Anyways, I'll send it to you. But it's
Okay.
it's on the Calendly.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. All right. Well, Rob, just email me then. Alia at drkiltz.com. We'll figure it out and you will get your lovely coaching with Dr. Nelson. He's great.
He's the best.
There you go. Karen, it was so lovely to have you this
Thank
morning.
you. Thank you for having me. I look forward to seeing you all in Boston.
Where
Yes,
where
I'm so
can we
excited
find
about
you?
that.
Where can we find
Oh.
you, Karen?
Our YouTube channel is Dr. Cami and Karen Go Keto.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yay. All right.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.